Hello everyone, welcome at Alliance Française. Please take a seat. We are going to start in a few minutes. We have water coming in also for all of you. Il faudrait un siège pour Alka aussi. Mets-toi juste là, ouais, si on peut. Ouais. You can sit next to Gregor. All good. Thank you everyone, welcome, thank you for coming today to celebrate Dr. Alka Pande and this big honor that France is making to her today. We are at Alliance Française, so I would like to thank the director, Patricia Loison, for welcoming us today. It's a bit of a special format that we are inaugurating, and we are very happy to have the opportunity to receive you here today and then to go in the Galerie Romain Rolland after a time in the auditorium to high and very important cultural spaces of France in Delhi. So it's meaningful for our topic today. Without any further delay, I would like to welcome our ambassador of France, Thierry Matou, and his wife also, Cécile Matou, here. And I would like to give the stage to the ambassador for the inaugural speech. And we'll have then Alka coming on the stage just after, and we'll start with the official medal ceremony before going on with a small talk and presentation about your new book release. Thank you very much. And Mr. Ambassador, please, floor is yours.
I keep your flowers with me, dear Alka. So, dear Dr. Alka Pande, Madame la Présidente du Musée Guimet, cher Yannick Lins, dear friends, Monsieur et le directeur de l'Institut français, Madame la directrice de l'Alliance française, well, it's a great pleasure for me to be here with you for this very special event. So I'm delighted to celebrate with all of you a remarkable individual, Dr. Alka Pande, whose outstanding work in art and culture has contributed to bridging the realms of creativity and scholarships between France and India. Alka's journey is an illustration of the transformative power of art and culture. As an art critic, an educator, a writer, and a curator, she has widely contributed to the understanding of gender identity, sensuality, sexuality, and traditional arts. A research which led her to explore the art and erotic literature of ancient India has not only deepened our understanding of India's cultural heritage, but also sparked meaningful conversation about identity in the global art world. Alka's dedication to the study and promotion of art has earned her a distinguished reputation, not only in India, in France, but worldwide. Her role as the director of a Museum of Fine Art in Chandigarh and as head of the Department of Fine Arts at the University of Punjab are two highlights of her remarkable journey. Her work as an educator, teaching art history at several prestigious institutions, such as the University of Punjab, Delhi College of Art, and NID, has inspired a generation of students and artists. Alka's long-standing collaboration with France has contributed to enriching cultural ties between our two nations. She was recognized already in 2006 through the award of a Knight of the Order of Arts et Lettres. Among others, her interactions with France include co-curating the groundbreaking exhibition about the Kama Sutra, which was quite an event, in Paris. More recently, her vision has been instrumental in the creation of a now iconic beer museum. For the first edition of the Beer Biennale, she extended a warm invitation to the then president of Musée Guimet, marking the beginning of a significant and lasting interaction. In the second edition of the Biennale, Alka's commitment to this partnership only grew stronger, with the current president of the Musée Guimet, Yannick Lins, who are very honored and happy to have with us, being invited. Since then, Alka has nurtured a close relationship with the museum, and together they are poised to develop exciting projects in the near future. But Beer Museum, obviously, is not the first museum that Alka has helped found. She has instituted other museums and curated their programming, such as Divine Gesture at the Udaipur City Palace and Kansha Museum at Singinawa, because showcasing the great diversity of India's rich and art heritage has been a lifelong commitment for Alka. In her life and work, Alka has brought together diverse cultural perspectives and shaped global discourse on art and identity. Her journey illustrates the power of art and transcend borders, break down all the barriers, and create understanding. Alka is a bridge builder. So I'm therefore delighted to confer on Alka the insignia of Officer de l'Ordre des Arts et Lettres on behalf of the French government in recognition of these extraordinary achievements. So, warmest congratulations, dear Alka, on this well-deserved honor. May your remarkable work and achievement continue to inspire and lead the way for future generations of artists and scholars around the world. So now I will ask you to come on stage, and I will confer you the title of Officer of the Arts et Lettres using the proper French wording.
Faisons officier de l'Ordre des Arts et Lettres.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur l'Ambassadeur, His Excellency Thierry Matou. Welcome, His Excellency, the Ambassador of France to India, and Cécile Matou, aujourd'hui. Welcome pour mes amis et mon famille ici. Si revers un peu est dangereux, le remède n'est pas de rêver moi, mais de rêver plus, de rêver tout le temps. From one of my favorite writers, Marcel Proust. Les prix sont spéciaux et certains le sont plus que d'autres. Ils sont comme des doses d'élixir de vie. Ils vous mettent le vent sous les airs et vous aident et vous élèvent toujours plus haute sur la lune et l'étoile. Je tiens tout d'abord à remercier l'ambassadeur de France, le diplomate érudit Thierry Matou, pour m'avoir décoré cet après-midi, mon chéri ami Yannick Lins, pour avoir facilité la remise des prix, Grégoire Tumel, le directeur de l'Institut français en Inde, IFI, pour son actuel chaleureuse Amandine Rogemont, et Mitushi Korana pour les gestions efficaces, et Patricia Loison and her team pour sa générosité dans l'utilisation des espaces, et Narayani Hargovindan. Ravi Singh, l'éditeur de Speaking Tree pour la publication de 4 canons, qui sera publié par His Excellency Thierry Matou, à ma co-panéliste, l'artiste et auteure Katerina Kakkar, et la photographe extrêmement talentueuse Asha Thadani. And now I will start speaking in English, a language which I am more facile with. I did do French and the diplôme de langue at the Alliance Française many years ago, mais maintenant j'oublie tout ça, mais je pratique. It was more than a quarter century ago that my love affair with France started. In 2000, when I was doing my postdoctoral studies at the Goldsmiths College, University of London, under the aegis of the Charles Wallace India Trust, I got an email from Philippe Bruguière, a French musicologist who played the bean, the classical Indian string instrument. He smoked beeries, cycled all over Paris, and contacted me via email, a service which had just about started. He had seen my book, Folk Music and Musical Instruments of Punjab, from mustard fields to disco lights, at the V&A bookshop in London, and was quite enraptured. And I'm so happy to have my friend Bipin Shah here, who had published the book, put it in the bookshop at the V&A, and my journey started. Philippe, along with Joseph Bohr, was co-curating an unusual exhibition, Gloire de Prince, Louange de Dieu, Glory of the Princes, Praise of the Gods, the legacy of Hindustani classical music from the 14th century of the Christian era to the 20th century at the Cité de la Musique, a French museum located on the outskirts of Paris at Villette. Not only did I do the scenography for the 3.5-month-long exhibition under the patronage of Jacques Chirac, but I also took Punjabi performers from Punjab to perform at the Cité de la Musique. It was an extraordinary exchange through music and performance. Later, as an art historian teaching at Punjab University, Chandigarh, ever since I got married to my wonderfully supportive, brilliant husband, Mukul Joshi, who's always fashionably late at all my important events. Thank God he's here in time today. I had a location shift, a migration from the busy metropolitan cities of Delhi, where I grew up, Mumbai, where I worked as a newscaster, and then to a relatively one-horse town, Chandigarh, built by the Swiss-French architect Le Corbusier, yet another connection to France. I have in my long career in the field of art, culture, Indian aesthetics, and academia worn many hats as an academic, university professor, author, curator, a museum professional, something which His Excellency has so beautifully talked about. And in the last 25 years, In addition to these pursuits, I have, on locating to my Karma Bhumi, Delhi, set up the visual arts for the India Habitat Center. While setting this up, a whole new world opened to me. In 2000, I was commissioned by Rowley Books to write a book on Indian erotica, which was launched then by my friend, the ambassador of France to India, and I've had connections with them for the last 25 years. At the opening evening, 35,000 copies of my book were sold out, 5,000 in French, published by a French publisher called Guy Trédaniel. It was called Erotisme Indien. It started me on another new adventure, an adventure which I still continue today. Albert Michel last year published in the Yoga of Encyclopedia an important text on yoga and Kama Sutra, which led to the seeds of putting the 4 Kama books by my friend Ravi Singh together. And in 2014, I curated this bold and beautiful exhibition in the City of Love called The Spiritual and the Erotic, the Kama Sutra, for 4 months at the Pinakothèque de Paris from October 2014 to January 2015, to a fantastic critical acclaim with 225 works from India and abroad and a sold-out album in English. The in-depth catalogue of 204 pages, you'll see it downstairs, was part of the exhibition. The insightful catalogue, made with the collaboration of various writers, Ben Grant, Sudhir Kakkar, his wife Katrina is here, and I'm so happy to have her here on my panel, Amina Taha Hussein Okada at the Guimet, and I'm so glad to have the president of the Guimet here, Johannes Belt of the Rietberg, Johannes Matela, a French collector. Actually, he's a urologist, but has the largest collection of phallic art, and the French critic Lucie Irigaray. In my many readings and subsequent interpretations of the Kama Sutra, I used to dip into another French connection, Alain Danilou. The Romanian academic and author, a renowned Sanskrit scholar, Mircea Eliade, is yet another connection to France with me. Because of Mircea's felicity with the French language, his writings have informed me about the part of my ongoing research in the area of Indian art and philosophy. As the ambassador has already explained to you, and I'm not going to repeat that, with the Biennale in Bihar, I had invited 2 very interesting, very powerful women from France, thanks to the facilitation of the IFI and my friend Emmanuel. We had Hala Varde, the architect who came, who was also part of the museum in Abu Dhabi, and Yannick Lins, the president of the Guimet, the National Museum of Asian Arts in Paris. The journey with Yannick started almost 2 years ago, and we are continuing. And we are hoping to have the Guimet in Bihar and the Bihar Museum at the Guimet. And last year, I spent a pleasurable day in Khajuraho and Orcha, where I was the expert for 2 episodes for Arte, a Franco-German TV channel, one on Khajuraho and the other on the paintings of Orcha. I have the links here, and hopefully we will see some images from that, which the channel has very graciously loaned me today to show downstairs as the lunch proceeds. They were streamed on the channel, and in fact today, the desserts have some food ingredients which are mentioned in the Kama Sutra, from figs and honey to aphrodisiacs like saffron to mouth-watering fresheners like the pan for you to relish. What I learned working with the French was that while celebrating the Derridian difference, we also have similar passions and the love for beauty above all, for philosophy, for fashion, attire, clothing, and above all, food. French cinema has influenced so many of our Indian filmmakers, French couturiers, our French designers, and fashion houses like Dior, Louis Vuitton, and Cartier have specially created art and jewelry for our erstwhile royals and continue to do so with the India's wealthiest of the wealthy even today. In art, the École des Beaux-Arts, the most favorite school for Indian artists, from Said Haidar Raza to Ram Kumar and Akbar Padamsi. It was his birth anniversary yesterday. And then, of course, Amrita Shergill. Amrita loved Paris, studied for some time at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, made India her home, brought in influences of Paul Gauguin and Pierre-Auguste Renoir through her art. Matisse and Picasso were also inspired by Indian art. And the French writer Jean-Claude Carrière collaborated with the British playwright Peter Brooks, who made France his home since 1970, and Malika Sarabhai, partner of Bipin Shah, was very much part of this production. The Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita are two favorite texts that intrigue the French. Romain Rolland, André Malraux, André Gide were as much influenced by India as many of our authors are by Jean-Paul Sartre to Proust, to name a few. The Nouvelle Vague, Cahiers du Cinéma, Nouvelle Cuisine are very much part of the Indian contemporary cultural vocabulary, as yoga and Ayurveda in parts are inspirational to French artists. When I was working in Paris for my exhibition, everybody I met there knew Kerala. Everybody had gone for Ayurvedic treatment to Kerala and made me feel very good. And my continuations with France have been constant and continuous, collaborating with the French Institute in India, the Alliance Française in Delhi. My daughter, Dr. Mandakini Devi's first solo in November 2024 was at Alliance Française. It was an absolute sellout. So you see, France has enriched my family and my life in many ways. I'm just going to take 2 minutes to contextualize my life's work. My doctoral work was Ardhanarishwar, a study in Indian art. You'll see a copy of the book downstairs. It was this work which set the foundation of the tour de force that guides me even today. Ardhanarishwar is a concept that is inherent in global cultures, literally meaning the Lord who is half woman. The concept is prevalent not just in primitive cultures, but also temporarily and spatially across most cultures. A contemporary example of this is the Oscar-winning film Emile Perez. The launch of the book, The Kama Quartet, and the set of 6 photographs by the photographer Sumiko Murugai Nanda, to the film From the Earth to the Sky on the Rathwa tribes of Gujarat by Dr. Mandakini Devi, are all related to the theme of desire, which we will talk about, and you will see all the work downstairs. I wish to thank all of you, my friends, my family, for taking time out from your busy midweek schedule, being with me on this day to celebrate the honor bestowed upon me, and for being part of my continued journey in visual arts through the aesthetics of the erotic, through gender and identity, through Indian myths and philosophy, and most importantly, through beauty. Beauty is what is going to save us. Beauty and art and the Indian concept of rasa and shringar is going to save us from the traumas of the contemporary world, including AI, which I'm very nervous about. This award imbues me with an added confidence, strength, and purpose for my single-minded quest of pursuing the study of Indian visual arts through the contemporary lens of Indian rasa. And I want to conclude with a little shlok to the Devi, to the eternal feminine who I bow down to every day. Sarvamangal Mangalye, Shive Sarvartha Sarthike, Sharne Trayambike Gauri, Narayani Namostute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alka, for this beautiful speech. And now just a few minutes on stage before you leave, Mr. Ambassador, because we will do the book unveiling, of course. So I would like to invite also the President of the Guimet Museum, Yannick Lins, to come with us for this moment. We're going to switch, if possible, the screen to have the cover of the book as a backdrop. And if you want the mic to say a few words about the book, or no, it's okay, you just do the unveiling. Shall I say a few words about the book? Just introduce it.
Okay, so this book we'll talk about, my publishers here, it's called the Karma Quartet. And these are a set of 4 very delicious books, which are like pieces of chocolat. It is love al fresco, love and karma, love and the Naika, and illicit love, which is the most exciting, of course. So I'll request the ambassador to launch the book, and Yannick as well.
So shall we open?
Yes, of course. The opening itself is quite erotic.
Really?
Well, we all have our little things for what is the erotic, which these books will tell you.
I'm looking for fig and honey. Oh, yes, yes.
It says fig and honey, but you never know.
Yes, they had a lot of fig and honey. I'm looking for a proper, let's say, official picture. Yes.
Acrobatic stuff.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, the Ambassador. Thank you, Yannick, also for traveling from Paris to Delhi on this beautiful occasion. Thank you. And now I would like to invite on the stage the 3 panelists of the conversation about the book right now. So maybe I'll give the mic back to you so you can introduce your panelists properly, and we'll have the 30 minutes conversation. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Ravi Singh, my publisher, whose vision brought out these 4 lovely, as I said, delicious books. My friend, Dr. Katrina Kakkar, who's come all the way from Goa to be with us today. And the very talented Asha Thadani, who has been shooting in Western Bihar, gone back to Bangalore to edit her images on this particular community of Londas in Western Bihar who do a Raibol dance of gender bending. I'll sit in the corner. Come.
So you present
Take the presentation. Rashmi, can you just run the slides, please? I'm just going to show you a little taster of the books. It's all about desire. And when I talk of desire, I talk of Brahma Here is Brahma with the four faces. You know, in our Indian mythology, we have no taboos. So there may be a bit of incest, there may be a bit of same sex, there all kinds of things. But Brahma, it was said, loves attachment and desire. It was because of desire that everything was created. And when there's no desire, there's destruction. It is said that he fell in love with his own daughter who he created, who's known as Shatrupa and Maya. And therefore, he suddenly sprouted 4 heads so that he could observe her. This is one of the stories. The other story is, sitting on this beautiful swan, he loved his creation so much that he kind of wanted to look at all the directions. He was so attached. And that is why you have the concept of Maya, of illusion in Indian philosophy. And that's why we are all talking of how to dispel Maya and illusion. So just run it quickly, Rashmi, and I just want to show you the beautiful images which are in the book, in all the books. And Radha and Krishna, the eternal lovers. Here is alfresco Kama, and you'll just see some beautiful images from different parts of the country, a lot with miniature paintings, the Naikas, how the gopis sport in water, how you see everything is so closely connected with Prakriti, with nature, and you have also voyeurism. You see Krishna spying on Radha as she's bathing. So all these are beautiful, humorous parts of what happens in the study of the aesthetics of the erotic. You have yoga and karma here. Of course, what I did in the Albert Michel book was completely different, but here you'll see a lot of images from different collections, a lot of sculpture, which shows a lot of yoga, miniature paintings from Rajasthan. Then you have the adultera, the seduction of illicit love. And here you will see also same-sex love. You have 2 women dancing, women with their lovers who quietly depart after nights of passion, and Katha will talk more about that. These are the Naikas, and these are from different paintings from different parts of the country. So some of them are very refined, some of them are very raw. And this is about the Naika. This is about the valorization of the woman. Because in present day times, when we are fighting for gender equality in our pre-modern India, we had a great balance, and very clearly it is mentioned in the Kama Sutra, the pleasure of the woman is as important as that of the male. And my favorite book out of the 7 books is the courtesan one, where she says, how do you milk a wealthy lover, and how do you get rid of an unwanted lover? So these are the different Naikas that you see. Thank you.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. But before, I thought I'd just ask you a little about the images. Of course, the most explicit ones couldn't be shown, so you'll have to buy the set. And it isn't just about them being explicit, them also being gloriously over the top, a lot of them. You would think, which is the question that I wanted to ask you, that, Kama Sutra, and therefore you would look at miniature images or images. Of course, sculpture would be much older than the art available. But here you have a lot of art which kind of approaches calendar art also, and postcards, etc., from the 19th century. Which was what I found interesting when you were, curating these images and you were sending them. So, how far it extended into the 19th century and also the early 20th century before so much prudery took over. Um, where did you find these images, number one, and did you really consciously want to have as, well, if not contemporary, images as close to our times as possible to show that this is a tradition which, wasn't with us only in ancient times, it actually stayed with us till very recent, before, as I said, prudery took over. So was that a conscious decision?
So, Ravi, I'm basically an art historian by training. So I wanted to look for pre-modern, and I found beautiful sculptures from Chandraketugarh. But for your question now, Victorian prudery aside, don't forget, the wealthy are always pursuing pleasure. And just recently, I was in Chandigarh, and I've discovered an album which has not been seen before. It is as late as the 19th or the early part of the 20th century. And when you look at those images, my God, it will actually put Dali in the background. They are surrealistic. They are absolutely, the Indian word for imagination, for which there is no translatable, called kalpana. Because I believe a lot in the Indian language. So kalpana has many, many nuances. So the kalpana of the artist, my God, and it is as late as now. Right now there's a lot of self-censorship also going on, but there are a lot of people doing a lot of erotic art, a lot of contemporary artists, and making very, very beautiful art. Some of it is not shown in public galleries, but it is being shown in private galleries. In fact, I remember Katha doing a very, very beautiful exhibition. How long ago was that you did in Sunap? Yeah, 10 years ago. She did an exquisite exhibition on different aspects of the Kama Sutra, the Naika, and she'd done it by stippling. I have one of her works. It is absolutely beautiful in its interpretation. And what for me was lovely about it is, because she is from Germany, she comes with a bit of a Occidental mindscape, but because she's done comparative religion, the way she looked at it, it was very nice. I found an inside out and an outside in visual language to that, and exquisite. So, Ravi, it is continuing. The erotic will continue till man lives, till the AI and ET don't take us over. The erotic is going to live. The touch, the sensuality, the feeling, that's so important. And it will, from eternity to the future, it's going to live.
Can I come in here? Of course. I totally agree with you, Alka. And what I think is important, that we often lose the lens. It's a question of perception. Through whose lens are we looking through? If we look, you ask for the 18th, 19th century, we have the amazing literature work, which is called The Appeasement of Radhika by Mudupalani, right?
Yeah, Mudupalani.
So this was a work that was celebrated in her lifetime, and we only know of it today because in the 19th century it was picked up again, and so that it won't be forgotten. So we don't know about the hundreds of other works, maybe thousands of other works that are lost today. In poetry, Alka, you mentioned it a lot in your works also. The old Indian poetry has a lot of, also female authors. We don't know about them. Some of them are where we know that they are actually female poems, but others it's just, not clear whether it's male or female. And so I agree totally with Alka that it has been there. It's just that we are not seeing it properly.
I just wanted to add to the women writers, a lot of bhakti poets, if you see from Andal, if you look at, there's a lovely book which I am rereading, which is called Wild Women by Arundhati Subramaniam. And the kind of wild writings, this adoration to the Lord, because in bhakti poetry, it is always the female voice. It is whether it's a man or a woman. When you are in bhakti, when you are venerating Vishnu, he's the eternal lover. And that is how Krishna becomes the divine lover. And the kind of voices, they'll take eroticism to another level. I mean, it's almost borders on pornography. They are so bold that you are actually blushing when you are reading that. And they are the voices of women who have actually given up their family lives and the way their relationship with their maker proceeds. In fact, that is why I requested Asha to break her documentation in Western Bihar to come and show these absolute powerful images of men who dress as women and how they dance. And it's a community, it's a tribe which is not denotified. It is denotified, yeah. So when you see her pictures, you'll really understand what desire within the Indian philosophy, what you were asking, comes out, both from the male gaze and the female gaze.
Can I plug a Speaking Tiger book here? Yours, of course, but another one. So there's this book called Ant Who Swallowed the Sun. And they are, that's Bhakti poetry by Marathi saint poets. Janabai, Muktabai, and three others, translated by Neela Bhagwat and Jerry Pinto. And there, I don't have a copy of the book. There's, among other, verse, there's one where I think it is Janabai who is addressing her Lord, and basically as somebody who's saying, "Come down here now," and it's almost like I'll tie you up, because you belong to me, and that really is quite remarkable. The book is called "Ant to Swallow the Sun." It's remember, but Asha, before I come to you, Catherine, to continue what you were saying about there being work also by women, which of course people won't know about. But a lot of it, at least from what we read, is men imagining what women would feel and what they would, and so when you find these, the evidence of a kind of subversion of that patriarchy or that male gaze happening, which in Naika and this particular volume here, which you wanted to talk about, and I thought if you could just talk a little bit about that particular volume in this set, in this box set. And what you think the subversion that happens there in the images.
I think for once, this is also why Alka's whole body of work is so important, because it's shifting gaze. That's what I was meaning also beforehand. We need to bring women back on stage, and that is the question of agency. And I think the Naika brings in that question of agency. It's not just the perception of, or the fantasy of men. Alka has pointed it out, I don't know if here or in another text also. It's always, a mix of fantasy and fact. So call it faction or fiction, faction actually. So it is projections, there's a subversion of a male gaze, but there's also the agency of the Naika. And Alka has put in this book, Naika, a couple of quite interesting pictures. For example, one, I'm not showing them here because it's too small for you to see, one of two women having pleasure, having fun, just with a gourd, pleasing themselves. Another one where a woman is standing above a man, arousing him. So these are samples of agency. And I think it's not, it's very, very important to point that out, that we need to create that perspective, that lens of interpreting and reading not only old texts, also new texts, but it's always a question of time, how you look at things. And Alka's work, body of work, is very important for me to open up that perspective. I don't know if this is answering your question, otherwise you have to, So for me, the Naika is an important aspect of erotica in India. And maybe to point out another thing, because you mentioned pornography, I think it's really important to also realize that these images that we see in the old Indian arts, it's not pornography, it's really erotica. The difference being that pornography makes the woman it's an object. You are devalued. While erotica brings out the subject, brings out the woman in her own kind of power to enjoy. And that, Alka, I feel you are doing with your work as well in these books and in the large body of work. So for me, that is important to point out why the Nayika is, amazing.
Asha, before I ask you the question, are we showing some of the images? Yeah.
So do you want the images to go first? Yeah. Rashmi, can we have the images, please?
Yeah, sure.
So today I'm going to be sharing a set of pictures, which is from my larger body of work. It's titled Edges. It explores the lives of communities who were branded as criminal under the Criminal Tribes Act of 1871 under British colonial rule. And this act, it just did not simply legislate, it kind of inscribed a social death sentence on millions of people. The consequences were severe, and a blanket act was passed, to kind of profile a very complex and diverse society. A lot of the communities that I've shot come under this act, and basically it means that they've been declared criminal by birth. The consequences were severe. There was strict police vigilance on all these communities. They had to go and notify their residents in the police station. Their movements were restricted. Even crossing those limits for a short period of time was prohibited. And they were often scapegoated for undetected crimes. They were condemned to forced labor. So this is the situation. Later on, in 1957, though the act was repealed, they still face social exclusion, economic marginalization, even till today. And I wanted to highlight the aspect of gender through this community. There are actually two communities. One is the Nat and one is the Musahar. Both of them are based out of Bihar, where I extensively shot. And the Nat are traditionally acrobats. Historically, they were the ones who would perform acrobats at village fairs and festivals and rural events. Now, with media changing a lot, that kind of old-style entertainment is really not so popular. So they've transitioned into gender bending. It's not new, it's fairly old, but it's come into focus and projection more so today. In the earlier days, it's the courtesans who would be performing and dancing for the upper castes and more privileged societies. But patriarchy in the middle and lower classes did not allow women to perform, and neither could they afford them. So what they started doing is making their men from the lower castes dress up as women and perform. You can move on to the pictures. So, as you saw the title, Londa, it colloquially translates to a boy toy. These are boys between the ages of 8 up to 24. And as you can see, they are very comfortable with what they do. Of course, economics plays a huge part. And all of them belong to the Dalit castes and also, like I mentioned, the denotified tribes who were criminalized earlier. So they're very, very stigmatized. And it's not like, because they're very marginalized and stigmatized, this sort of a thing is not so unnatural to them. Gender boundaries become porous, role reversals are done as per the demands of the upper caste. So here you can see that there is no taboo. Cross-dressing is not taboo in this society. While I was shooting, very often I noticed that they would borrow their wife's skirt or their mother-in-law's blouse. And it came as a shock to me. You can just stop at this image, Rashmi, the one with the rats. So it came as a shock to me because I asked them, what, your family knows you do this? And they said, of course, my father-in-law has done it, my father has done it, and it's no big deal. So it kind of stopped me in my tracks that it was happening so openly, and it was rampant. Here you see the Musahar community. Their name basically translates to rat catchers and rat eaters. They're so poor that normally they would smoke out the holes in which these rats live. The rats come running out, and because they have no money to buy pulses, grain, or anything like that, they would even take the grain which the rats have stored in their holes in order to cook them. You can move on to the next picture. So, as you see, during the monsoons, it's very difficult to catch rats in a slushy paddy field. But there is hope because monsoon is also the season of weddings. So this is when they do the gender bending, the cross-dressing, because during monsoons there are many events related to weddings, festivals, and this is where they go and perform. Most of those festivals are organized by wealthy landlords or men in the area. They all live in places called deras. So, dera is a place where 10, 15 of these female impersonators will live, cook, stay, work together. And they are kind of given jobs on a yearly basis. Normally, these boys are located at a village fair or festival. If these people are dancing and then they notice that someone's showing a lot of interest or there is a very pretty boy, they would go and approach him or his parents and ask them if they could initiate the little boy into their group. Normally, the starting payment is only 20,000 rupees a year. And then with time, it increases to 30, 40, 50,000 for a year, depending on the popularity. They train the little boys in dancing, singing, or whatever it is that interests them. Also, my experience living and photographing these communities was they have the woman sensuality, the woman body language. It is spot on. Everything from the way they sit, stand, behave, speak. The only thing is, once they are in costume, there is complete silence. They only speak in sign language or through the eyes because they're very conscious about their manly voices, spoiling the facade. So then they become very quiet. Otherwise, on stage, they dance and lip sync to recorded music. The kind of music that's very popular is their local Bhojpuri songs, Bollywood item numbers. They do very raunchy songs. The audience is mainly men. No women attend these functions. But I was quite shocked to see little kids, even kids who are 4, 5, 3, attend these events and love it. The events normally start late in the night at 9 and they go on the entire night till about 3 or 4 in the morning. Very often there is sex work as well. The dancing is just a way of luring people into the sex work. You can see they're very open about, and all these men, it's not they're homosexual, they're not homosexual, they're not transvestites, they're straight boys. All these boys that you see are married, they've got children. This is their profession. So the dancing and the sex work both. Here you can see them performing. When in costume, even their body is transformed. They don't do plastic surgery. There's no hormone therapy. There's no sex change. They use different kinds of techniques to even get a cleavage. You know, it could be tying a cloth very tight so that there's, yeah. So that's the dances. You can see you'd never be able to tell it's a man. Yeah, I'm done.
Sorry. So we'll wind up in just a minute, but you answered the questions that I was going to ask you. But just to a little bit, you know, if we can just talk a little bit about the, obviously caste, more even perhaps than class, has a lot to do with this. What is their agency in this? Do they take ownership of this? Are they able to, or is it just because, you know, it's a profession? But if we're talking in the context of desire, is there desire here? And whose desire? Obviously, those who are performing or those who are
Yes,
watching?
see, though they are very economically backward people, there is agency. You know, these communities were performers, they were acrobats. So it is in the scheme of things. I'm looking at villages that I've shot which do not have television, they don't have any sort of social media, right? So these people are stars in their own right. They might be coming from marginalized communities such as Dalits or denotified tribes, but people really look up to them. That to me was the most shocking thing because I never sensed any sort of exploitation. These people are very respected. There are people who aspire to be like them, people from their caste. And there are so many functions every day simultaneously throughout Bihar. You would see at least 60 to 70 performances. It is that profuse, the art, you know.
It's extraordinary. We can, you know, maybe have continue the conversation over lunch. Alka, would you want to say?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that we are going to continue with this work, whether it's Asha, Katrina, with Ravi, of course, we are continuing. And I think celebrating Indian philosophy, Indian aesthetics is something which is really required, particularly today, in a more inclusive way, and that's what we are planning to do. Thank you very much, and I'll invite all of you for lunch downstairs in the gallery. And for those who want to buy the book, you can just look it up in Amazon. Thank you.
Lunch is aphrodisiac.
Yes, lunch, desserts are all aphrodisiacs. So, definitely. Yeah, so you just see how you're going to get back. Yeah. I better take, yeah. And I better take my medicine.
Can I click one picture, please?
Yeah, come. Let's just take one. Asha, just let's take one picture. All of us. Who wants to take one? Come, Gregor.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, very important. Yes. One, holding the book. Thank you.